Hey, horror movie fans. I am kicking off the Halloween horror weekend the right way with a horror movie marathon. I'm going to watch 5 horror movies, and in between each film, I'm going to give you the review of the ones I've seen. Okay, so let's get this started, and hey, have a happy Halloween. Okay, just finished with the first film in my horror movie marathon, and that was The Invisible Man Returns, which is kind of a misleading title. Now, this is the sequel to The Invisible Man, but it doesn't have the same Invisible Man in it. It's a different Invisible Man. It's a guy who was convicted for a murder he didn't commit, and his friend is this scientist who was brothers with the scientist who turned into an Invisible Man in the first one. So, he gives that guy the formula so he can turn invisible and find the real killers. Kind of a letdown. Didn't have much of a story to it. Didn't have any good characters. The effects were kind of scaled down compared to the original one, but still some creative decisions, like they have scenes where the Invisible Man is in the house, and he's going to go downstairs, and as he's going downstairs, he's turning on lights, so you kind of follow him, even though there's no one there. But like the stuff when he's taking off the bandages, not as impressive as it was in the first film. Aside from that, it was okay. And let's just move on move on to the next film. Okay, so just finished up with the second movie in my horror movie marathon. This was Train to Busan. I enjoyed it. It was just like balls to the walls craziness. If you don't know it, it's a zombie movie set on a train. And with that, you get a sense of claustrophobia. At the same time, everything is going super speed because it's a train, so it gets the adrenaline pumping. And they really delivered on that premise. And it's like one of those classic Romero zombie movies, like the original trilogy, where you see the breakdown in society and people start turning on one another. We get some of that. Only real complaint I would make is it's kind of like a PG zombie movie, so you don't really get to see people torn apart and eaten alive. Instead, they kind of get bit, and it looks like it hurts for a second, but then eventually, like that, they turn into zombies, so maybe not that scary, but still a very good flick. If you ever get a chance, check it out. Okay, onward! Okay, so we come to the third movie in my horror movie marathon, and that is Blackenstein. And it's exactly how it sounds. It's a movie about a black Frankenstein-like monster. This movie was terrible. And it's so bad it's good way. Well, but not really. You got a title like Blackenstein, and this is set in the 1970s, and it's like one of the early blaxploitation films. I was expecting it to be a little more fun, but it's a pretty depressing movie. And there's one character though called Malcolm. He's like the doctor's assistant. I enjoyed him in his little storyline. He's got a thing for Blackenstein's woman. She's working at the lab, and he's trying to put the moves on her. She doesn't want anything to do with that, so he fucks over her boyfriend and turns him into the Blackenstein monster. So yeah, it's just weird to think that his whole motivation was he got friend zoned, so he creates a monster that goes around killing people. Yeah, I don't know what more else I could say. It's a classic to some people, but I thought it was Okay, let's hope the next one is something to talk about. Okay, so we come to the fourth film in our horror movie marathon, and it is Werewolves Within. Okay, so it's got a simple horror movie premise. You've got a small group of people They're isolated in the mountains during a snowstorm, and there's a werewolf out, killing them off one by one. And of course, paranoia sets in as they try to find out who's the werewolf. It's a bit of a mystery. And I enjoyed every minute of this film. It stars one of my favorite actresses, the AT&T girl, Melania Van Traub, or Troob. I'm not sober enough to pronounce that correctly. But yeah, I would recommend it. So let's finish this off with the last film. Okay, so here it is. We came to the last film in this movie marathon. This was Blank Vampires of Beverly Hills. Now, for reasons that should be obvious to most people, I cannot say the entire title of this film. But I will say that this was my favorite film of the night because it had an integral plot, a well-developed characters with motivations, and, just amazing writing. Of course, I am joking. This was an adult film. That's how I decided to end my movie marathon, with a soft corn movie, vampire-themed one, in keeping with the horror movie marathon. But, not every film you're going to watch is going to be some thought-provoking story. That being said, when I go to bed tonight, I will be giving this movie a lot of thought.